Hello and welcome to ILTV's Evening Update. I'm Aaron Porras here with the latest news from Israel. Florida Senator Marco Rubio and Virginia Senator and former vice presidential nominee Tim Kaine are teaming up on legislation that aims to crack down on antisemitism in Europe. The Senate duo are pushing the Combating European Antisemitism Act, which requires the State Department to monitor episodes against Jews in Europe and to submit its findings to Congress as part of its annual International Religious Freedom Report. The proposed bill would also direct the State Department to include information on the security challenges and needs of European Jewish communities, efforts by the U.S. government to partner with European governments and law enforcement agencies to combat antisemitism, and efforts by European governments to adopt a working definition of antisemitism. Said Kaine, quote, "This legislation will help the new administration and Europeans work together to combat antisemitism and protect religious freedom for Jews and society at large," end quote. The United States Holocaust Memorial Museum in Washington, D.C. set out in the year 2000 to accurately and comprehensively record all the different established sites of Nazi persecution. Originally, the project, now known as the Encyclopedia of Camps and Ghettos 1933 to 1945, expected to find roughly 5,000 sites, including among them forced labor and death camps, military brothels, ghettos, and POW camps. Since the initiative began, however, well over 42,500 sites have been found, and the number is rising. Possibly most alarming about the number is that it's conservative, as sites with dual functions or sites that changed function throughout the war were only counted once, and sub-camps, of which there were tens of thousands, weren't counted at all. Each and every site in the list gathered into the encyclopedia includes multiple witness testimonies and official documentation which corroborate the existence of the location. The encyclopedia will be released in a 7-book series to be published in its completion by the year 2025. The Australian government has expressed concern over Israel's announcement this week that it would build 2,500 more homes in the West Bank. A spokesperson for Foreign Minister Julie Bishop said it was a significant expansion deep in the West Bank that does have the capacity to undermine the credibility of a two-state solution. Last month, Australia was the only country in the world besides Israel to denounce Security Council Resolution 2334, which declared even the Western Wall as occupied territory. Bishop's spokesperson said that Resolution 2334 was seen as singling out Israel unfairly, which is why it was opposed by Australia, but that the government's support for the two-state solution still stands. The spokesperson's comments were in response to a call from former Australian Prime Minister Tony Abbott to move the embassy to Jerusalem and to cut Australian funding to the Palestinians. Israeli police say the arrest of cannabis users between 2010 and 2015 has dropped 30% in cases of personal use of cannabis. At a hearing of the Knesset Committee on Drug and Alcohol Abuse yesterday, Keren Lerner, the head of the police drug research unit, said police policy is moving towards enforcement against growing marijuana and not personal use. Lerner told the committee that there has been a 70% drop in adult arrests and that there were only 2 indictments filed related to cannabis in all of 2016. The Justice Ministry recommended to Justice Minister Ayelet Shaked this week that the use of marijuana not be prosecuted criminally, but instead be fined or punished by administrative sanctions. The recommendation calls for changing the legal approach to marijuana in Israel as well to a health-centered approach, certainly in cases of personal use. A 250 million shekel plan to advance and strengthen the smart transportation industry in Israel was approved by the cabinet on Sunday to position the Israeli high-tech industry as a global leader in the field. Inspired by companies like Waze, Mobileye, and MoveIt, the government is hoping to tap into a profitable industry that could reach a global market share of $7 trillion by 2030. The National Plan for Smart Transportation will now join with the National Plan for Alternative Fuels to be known as the Alternative Fuels and Smart Transportation Administration. The 250 million shekels will be spent over the next 5 years promoting innovative solutions for Israel's transportation network. Eli Groner, Director General of the Prime Minister's Office, who will co-chair the plan's steering committee, said just as smartphones have become an inseparable part of our lives, the same may be expected for smart transportation. That's all for now. Stay tuned on ILTV.tv for our main daily broadcast playing after this. I'm Aaron Porras, and see you next time with our morning briefing from Israel at 8 a.m. Eastern Time.